Sticky toffee pudding has been perhaps the most requested recipe for me to try. I've gotten so many comments asking me to make this, and today's the day. I'm excited to give it a go. So I had to start digging through my cookbooks, and there were only 3 of them that included the sticky toffee pudding recipe. Most of the older ones did not. From what I gather, it has been popularized since the 70s, so more of the old school cookbooks don't have them. Recipes for it, that is. So starting with the recipe in this book of British food from Good Housekeeping. This is my newest book that I just acquired. I looked through the recipe here, and it seems pretty easy to make, but it doesn't include dates, which seems like a critical part of the sticky toffee pudding. So I'm going to pass on this recipe. Moving on to the British cookbook. This one is written for people outside of the British Isles, trying to get them to make the most authentic food possible. It does include the dates being softened with boiled water. It goes pretty in depth. It doesn't include nuts though, which is an odd omission since pretty much every other recipe version of sticky toffee pudding I've seen does include nuts. So I'm gonna put a finger on that one. And then I have Mary Berry's cookbook. This is Mary Berry's recipes for an American audience. And it's not so focused on 100% authenticity. It's focused on usability, which I like about Mary Berry. It's very practical. Her recipes work great. It uses ingredients I can find easily. It is a very practical cooking sensibility to get good results with minimal effort. So I like Mary Berry in that, but her sticky toffee pudding recipe does include dates. It does include nuts, but it doesn't include the dates being softened in hot water, which is a really key element, I think, an interesting element. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and use the British cookbook, and I'm just going to add some nuts into it of my own accord. I think that's entirely proper. So once I started digging into this recipe though, something really interesting came up. I started going through the recipe, reading it, getting my shopping list down, and it started to look familiar. Like really familiar, as in I've seen this recipe in an American cookbook before, pretty distinctive. It was in fact this cookbook, Our Own Fare from Milwaukee, Wisconsin, 1956. I originally was focused on making vintage American recipes, and date and nut cake was in fact on my to-do list. It might have been coming up pretty soon. It may even have been a contender for recipes that I was going to make when I decided to make Toad in the Hole, but this one looks suspiciously similar to sticky toffee pudding. You've got the dates soaked with hot water and soda, chopped, soaked with hot water and soda, set to the side, then mixed into a creamed cake. And it doesn't include the frosting on here, but a caramel frosting is super common. I know I'm taking a long time to get into the recipe, but I think the history is kind of interesting this time because this is a very popular British recipe that I've never had before, and it's looking a lot like some vintage American recipes that hadn't had before either, but I was going to try. Let's read through this description of sticky toffee pudding because there's a little bit of interesting information in here. In 2008, chef and food writer Simon Hopkinson traced the lineage of sticky toffee pudding back to a Lancashire woman named Patricia Martin, who apparently received the recipe from Canadian Air Force officers who stayed at her hotel during World War II. This story seems likely, Hopkinson notes, because the batter of sticky toffee pudding is actually more in line with an American muffin, soft and springy, than a traditional British sponge. So that's interesting. I have a recipe that looks a heck of a lot like sticky toffee pudding from the 1950s, and I was able to find some YouTube videos of modern people still making that recipe for date and nut cake.
I'm making old-fashioned date nut loaf. My mother used to make this and I loved it.
Or often cooked as a loaf also. I'll link some of them in the description down below because I think they're interesting how they're still being made and how they look so much like the sticky toffee pudding recipes I've seen. But I decided to see what is the oldest American recipe I could find. I did some digging. I didn't go crazy digging, but the oldest recipe I found was from Aunt Betty's cookbook, published in 1918 here in the Midwest, Cincinnati. And it has date cake, which has this exact process of mixing dates with bicarbonate of soda and hot water to soften them. and then mixing them into a cake batter. And there's also a recipe for caramel sauce in that same cookbook from 1918 that looks pretty much identical to the sauce that goes on sticky toffee pudding. And it would have been served on cakes. That's what it says it's for. So this is really interesting. I thought about making this. Making 2 cakes seems like a lot, especially considering they're going to be very similar. They're very similar recipes. Okay, but let's get into this one. Starting with 1 1/4 cups of Medjool dates that have been stoned, pitted, and chopped. I'm adding 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda, sodium bicarbonate, and I'm adding 300 milliliters of boiling water onto that. I just need to cover this and set it aside for 10 minutes. Let it macerate, get all mushy. So moving into my mixer, I'm taking 6 tablespoons of butter, 3/4 cup of light brown sugar. We're going to cream this together. So after a couple of minutes, this is nice and evenly creamed. It's starting to be able to sort of spread it like a smooth paste. Now we're going to add 2 eggs one at a time. And I just made sure to get that first egg completely incorporated before I started adding the second one. I have 1 1/2 cups of self-rising flour that I'm adding in. All right, that gives me this really lovely, light, fluffy, smooth batter. And for the dates, we're going to switch over to the blender. These have been sitting and sort of stewing and bubbling with that baking soda, bicarbonate of soda. Back to the mixer. Need to mix this into the batter. And I'm going to give this just a few quick low-speed pulses to just fold it in lightly. Okie dokie. Very interesting. I'm just going to add in these chopped walnuts. And I have a 7-inch square baking pan that I have greased all the hell and back. I put a parchment paper on the bottom. So I'm going to pour this sticky toffee pudding batter into it. So this is going to the oven at 325 degrees Fahrenheit for 25 to 35 minutes until it's done. For the sauce, we have 3/4 cup plus 2 tablespoons of it says dark brown sugar. I only had light brown sugar, so I'm going to use that. But I have black treacle. So I'm going to put a tablespoon of black treacle in with this to darken it up. That should work. Never used this before. I don't know what it smells like, tastes like, but I did see a lot of sticky toffee pudding recipes that incorporated this, especially with the sauce. So let's see. Oh, it's sticky. Smells very, very similar to molasses. Oh, a little bit more of like an umami taste to it than molasses has. So it's just a little bit deeper, not as sharp as molasses. Maybe a little bit sweeter too. I'm just gonna put that in there and just wash this lid off so it wasn't a sticky mess. And I'll have to make something using this exclusively. I don't see any recipes on the can. You'll have to let me know what I can make with this. Into this, I'm adding a stick of unsalted butter and 1/3 cup of heavy whipping cream. All right, and this is gonna go on the stove and melt together for 5 minutes. And while that is melting, I wanted to mention that I got some clotted cream. Never tried this before either, so this is gonna be my first time trying clotted cream with the sticky toffee pudding. Distributed in the USA by Summerdale International, Wellington, Somerset, England, product of the UK. So I'm gonna go ahead and give this a try. It smells like butter. It's kind of like melted butter, but it may be a little bit soft. I don't know. Whippy butter with a little bit of milk in it. Let's give it a taste by itself. I know it's weird, but oh, it's lovely. It is like it's like halfway between cream and butter, but it's got those notes in it that taste kind of like brown butter. I'd always heard it's halfway between like butter and whipped cream, but it's not quite the same. And that's it. It's got the taste of brown butter. It's like brown butter and whipped cream mixed together. That's solid. I'm excited to try this. Oh, I gotta mind my sauce. The recipe said that this cake would take 25 to 35 minutes. That was a lie. It took a full hour to get cooked all the way through. But most of the other recipes for sticky toffee pudding I've seen cooked for a similar amount of time. So I don't know what they were on about, but it smells delicious. It looks interesting. What I'm gonna do is turn this out real quick, and I'm gonna put some of the icing on it. Because this icing looks a lot like what would have been called a broiler icing. Whoa. In mid-century US recipes, it's pretty close to the same. And that is where you put it on the cake after it's done, and you stick it under the broiler / grill for a few minutes to get it really like super caramelized. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. Please come out, please come out. Came out just fine. Okay. Oh, it smells wonderful. So I'm taking about a third of this icing and I'm gonna put it on the top here and stick it under the broiler. I don't wanna go crazy, I just wanna coat the top, and I really don't want it dripping out the sides any more than it absolutely has to. Okay, under the broiler for just a couple of minutes. Okay, that should be good. So that's gonna be a nice, like heavily caramelized toffee layer on there. I'm gonna take maybe half of the remaining sauce and put it on top. And then visually, I think I need to just chop up some more walnuts and put them on top. But I don't want to just put straight up raw walnuts on top of it. I'm gonna toast these real quick. I just heated them up till they started getting a little bit of a brown toasty color. Oh my God, it's still hot in my hands. I think it looks delicious. Let's give myself a serving. Very excited to try it. I am just going to be staying in the kitchen today, no dining room. This is not my normal filming day. I had a doctor's appointment on my normal filming day and that disrupted things. So I have an abbreviated day of filming and oh, look at that, hot and steaming still. And I have a play to get to in a few hours downtown at the Goodman Theater. Going to see Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. I'm excited for that. It sounds like a fun play. It smells delicious. The texture does look light and fluffy as it should be. I'm going to serve it with an extra dollop of the sauce on top. And this sauce came out a really nice consistency of not a super thick caramel, not a super thin caramel. I am very happy with how the sauce turned out. Let's put a big dollop, a nice dollop of the clotted cream on top. That looks decadent. Oh my God. Since we're being decadent, might as well have some scotch with it. Trying to get through this stuff. I'm almost done with this bottle of the cheap stuff. And that'll be an excuse for me to get better quality scotch when I'm through with this one. Just a little bit of filtered water in there, some scotch. All right. For this recipe from 1918 from Aunt Betty's cookbook, I'm telling you, it looks darn similar to sticky toffee pudding, especially with the caramel sauce. So let me know if you want to see me make it maybe as an extra. And I'll just make that just to see if it comes out and let you know how similar it is to this. But let's give this a taste. Sticky toffee pudding with clotted cream. Oh my, you didn't have to, oh my God. This is crazy good. It is sweet. You can't say it's not sweet. Ton of sugar, dates, but I like sweetness when it's got that deep browned caramelized flavor. I tend to like it more. This is ridiculously good. Wow. I just did, and it goes to 11 with the remake of The Toad in the Hole. This goes to 11 too, right up there. It's a similar feeling of when I ate the homemade mince pie for the first time. Wow. That clotted cream is next level. The toasted nuts on top are a nice taste. The sauce with the toasted nuts reminds me of pecan pie, which is my favorite dessert. This tastes like pecan pie in cake form. Yeah, I would definitely use pecans in the future instead of walnuts. That's what I had, and it's crazy good. Lord help me. Why isn't this more popular over here? I don't know why this isn't more popular in the States. Man, God, Lord almighty. All right, now let me know if you want me to see me make the 1918 American version, the date nut cake, which looks great, very similar. I will do that as like maybe a short form video, something quick and easy, not the whole frou-frou. But man, I'm loving this one. Goes to 11, which joins mince pie and toad in the hole as my goes to 11. And I need to call some friends to help me finish this because I just got my cholesterol tested and just got my blood sugar tested. All good, but if I keep eating like this, it won't be. So I'm gonna finish this off, clean up, and I'm gonna go for a walk around the neighborhood, a couple of miles, to help burn this off. That's all that I have for today. If you've liked this video, please give it a thumbs up. That helps more than you can know. I am approaching 6,000 subscribers, and I want to get to 7. And at 7, I'll buy a bottle of reasonably good quality scotch. So if you have a good quality scotch for me, recommendation for me to buy and test, let me know. And when I get to 7,000 subscribers, I'll do that. Not talking crazy expensive, reasonably priced. I'm not making a lot of money here. But that's all. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the future.